everyone! Welcome back to some Unicorn Overlord. We are jumping back into report conversations. We're just doing a short afternoon stream, gonna knock out some of these. Monica and Elaine. Yeah, no 3-star for Elaine, because Monica still has fifis for Clive. Makes sense. Okie dokie. Rather impressive sigh there, Monica. Is something the matter? Apologies, my prince. I didn't expect anyone to actually hear that. Yet I'll have you know it's sometimes best to leave a woman to her misery. Forgive me. I merely thought to offer my help if you needed it. That's very kind of you. So happens I received a letter from my grandfather, one which details every last aspect of the very machinations Clive mentioned earlier. He wanted to thank me and to apologize as well. Needless to say, I've already come to terms with the reality of the situation. But if he truly thinks a letter is enough to redress his failings, then he's dearly mistaken. I can see your point, yes. Despite his impulsiveness, my grandfather is surely well-intentioned at heart, if not a little too cunning for his own good. Sadly, he and his ilk are an increasingly rare breed among the nobility of our nation. As far as I can remember, the man has cared more for card games and horseback riding than inheritances or decorum. And as thoughtless as he can be at times, he's always ready to risk his own well-being for the sake of others, just as he did when he chose to fund the liberation behind Zenoira's back. In all honesty, it's a miracle the old fox has lived as long as he has. I think I understand the reason for that sigh now, Monica. One of concern for your grandfather's safety. Enough about the sigh already. Oh, and I'd appreciate if you kept this matter to yourself while you're at it. Hey, that's fair. A little more... Hey! Thank you very much for the follow. Megan Art? So yeah. Just a little more, I guess, emphasis on Monica's whole situation with her grandfather and the inheritance. Hello! Alright. Ina and Monica. Odorous. And finished. I have a feeling Millie is gonna love this. That's your painting, Nina. The picture of a flower to send my family. Just a picture of a flower to send my family. An Elvise bloom, is it? Your use of color is quite striking. You write home like this often? Well, no, actually. I didn't even tell them I joined the Liberation at first. I left that task to my sister, Millie, but now I think I owe them an explanation of my own. The picture is for her, though. She's always adored my little artworks. I take it you enjoy the hobby yourself, then? I suppose I've never really thought about it. I only ever learned it for the sake of my schooling. A natural talent. If I could paint even half as well as you, I would gladly retire my sword in favor of a brush. I appreciate you saying so. But did you not study the arts as well? I thought such things were a tradition at just about every noble house in the land. I did indeed. I would be glad to draw something for you if you'd like. Of course, here, I have plenty of paper left. It's gonna be terrible, isn't it? Absolutely terrible. What is it meant to be, exactly? That chicken standing just over there. And it doesn't resemble the bird at all. Even I know that to be true. I would have guessed a savage beast, yes, or perhaps a building that's fallen into disrepair. In truth, I once drew a similar picture as a gift for my parents, but my mother simply wept when she saw it, while my father remained bedridden for the entire day following. What the fuck? Alright, calm down. Something of an overreaction to a mere lack of talent, wouldn't you say? I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I'm starting to understand how they felt. Wow! That's brutal. Okay, so Monica can't fucking draw. Good to know. Damn. Savage. Monica and Selby. Selby and Joseph. See this one over here? Lane and Aubin. Game, why do you do this to me? Selvi and Monica. I would have assumed that that one is connected to the city to the west, but okay. What's happened, Selvi? You look utterly exhausted. Is that you, Monica? I require nourishment. You hungry? She hungry. You shall have it. Just stay strong while I fetch you some food. Silly. Thank you again, Monica. At times I grow so absorbed in my research I forget to eat for an entire day. I shudder to think what would have happened if I hadn't come when I did. Yet in a sense, I can't help but admire your single-minded devotion to knowledge. Oh? When I was young, my parents kept me on an extremely strict schedule, one which saw my time devoted to my studies and little else. It was practically torture being forced to learn day in and day out. And no matter how intently I watched the hourglass, the flow of its sands was always painfully slow. All that to say, I admire your motivation, Selvi. I could never find the energy to spur myself on as you have. Fascinating, yes, but I confess my research is the only pleasure I know in life. Surely you have other joys which drive you forth, though. Joys beyond the pursuit of scholarship. Well, I suppose I do enjoy a nice cup of tea beneath a starlit sky. Yet my instructors shun such fanciful hobbies. We learned earlier about her enjoying the starry sky. My instructors shunned such fanciful hobbies and urged me ever towards the noble and sublime. How very callous of them. While it's true I delight in my research, it's not out of some vain search for the sublime. I simply found where my curiosity lay and chose to pledge my life to its calling, that's all. I hope to do the same as you someday. I'm an astronomer. Or you will, Monica. And I can't wait to see where your passion leads you. Oh, that's fair. Elisandre. That you, Monica? Feels like it's been ages since we last saw each other. Good day, Lady Melisandre. I heard your house had aligned itself with the Liberation, but I never expected to see you march amidst our ranks yourself. I'm no lady with you, just an old friend. Though I'll admit, it's hard to think that 10 years have passed since the banquet at House Nordheim. A lot has changed in that time, of course, but I'm glad to see your hair is just as radiant to gold as ever. You've remained much the same as well, Melisandre. How do you mean? Even in our youth, it was obvious you were never quite like the other nobles. While you may have struggled with decorum at times, you bore a keen eye for seeing matters as they truly were. That is not the impression I've had from Melisandre, did I now? Tell me, do you recall what happened the eve of that banquet? A thief found his way into the manor proper, past every last one of our skillful sentries. And while the rest of us strive to understand how, your gaze never left a quiet young gentleman in attendance. At the time, it seemed as though you were simply infatuated with him. Yet it later grew clear that he was the one who had helped the thief inside. Somehow, you had suspected the man from the very beginning. I feel like you are reading into things, Monica. I feel like Melisandre is absolutely gonna be like, yeah, no, I just thought he was cute. Sneaky early stream. I said I was going to try to sneak in some early rapport grinding. Had I? I can't say I remember it myself. And though I welcome the praise, we both know what happened afterward. I sided with Zenoira rather than defend my home. So please, don't act like I'm some wonderful judge of character. Heyo, how's it going, Maritanapa? How you doing? If you insist. Yatta! More stuff! Alright, we get to see Clive in action. Ooh, he has 3 conversations. That's solid. Clive and Monica. Evening, Clive. Ah, Monica. What is it? You always stare at the ground when you're speaking to someone. It's rude, you know. It's not that I don't wish to meet your gaze, of course. It's merely... Enough, Clive. I know you had your reasons for deceiving me, as did my grandfather. What's done is done. Be that as it may, it doesn't change the manner in which I wronged you. While I won't argue with that, it was rather uncivil of you. But bearing a grudge does me little good, knowing you only did what you thought was best. Hey, Mop-Up. Unless there's something else you feel guilty about, of course. All is well, missing more Dominions videos. Well, they'll be coming tomorrow. I spent a part of the day rendering out new ones. Some people have trouble making eye contact. It's not rude. Yeah, you know, if you are a person who can't make eye contact with other people, it's not rude. If you are a person who can make eye contact with other people, but you're not making eye contact with a person for a reason, then it can be rude. I'm doing pretty good. Enjoying the 3-day weekend. Really needed it. Lippo, why are you on my... Hey, cat. See, you know it's wrong because you know I'm talking to you. Bad cat. Yes, yeah, I had Memorial Day off. A good question for you. Sorry, Mama. Should I be worried? Please, it's nothing as substantial as that. I was merely struck by how unchanged you seem, despite the ever-looming threat of war. Even now, your iron will is as apparent in your eyes as it always has been. It is beautiful, I must admit. I don't know what to say, Clive. Then say nothing at all. Even should you forgive my failings, I've no right to stand at your side ever again. Changed as well. Years past, I could never have foreseen you standing tall against the might of Zenoira like this. I suppose not, no. Interesting. They like each other.
You cleaned for me.
Thanks for head kisses. I did some cleaning. Took out a bunch of trash, did some cleaning, went grocery shopping. We have food! Lots of food. So, I will stream for probably another hour or so, and then I will cook. Are you all Mardi Gras up?
Okay.
Why are you breaking them like that? Go get the scissors.
Pass them to mommy sleep.
I haven't heard. It's a win-win? Oh, God. Oh, God. Alrighty, then. Okay, more rapport with Clive. You standing so stately, Otis. Clive and Monica. Care for a drink, Clive? Lady Monica, sorry I didn't see you there. I hope I'm not interrupting something. Not at all. And for the record, I would be glad to drink with you. But Monica. And so would Clive, it seems. Lead the way, Adel. Once this war's over, you think we're gonna start families of our own? Oop, he drunk. Why, is there a lucky lady you had in mind? What? No. I mean, I do get approached a lot, but I've honestly never been great at talking to women. Ever since I was young, I was damn certain I wanted to be a knight. So I spent most of my time on the training ground with sweaty old men, not out on the town with girls. Same as Clive here. I think you've had enough for the evening, Adel. What do you mean? I'm barely even drunk yet. Besides, I know you agree with me. Only we had brides of our own. Maybe things be different. All the better if it could be someone gorgeous like you, Monica. Foot. Mouth. Spoken like a true drunkard. Thank you. Speaking of betrothal, though, I believe Clive here was once engaged himself. Now, wait just a sec. Is she telling the truth, Clive? Adel, please mind your volume. I was once sworn to be married, yes, but that arrangement has years since been dissolved. You mean all that time we spent in the Ashen Blue, you weren't actually single? I thought you and me were the same, lone wolves all our lives. Fuck, he's so drunk. Calm yourself, Adel. And you, Monica, cease this mockery of our past at once. Wait, our past? Ah yes, I suppose I forgot to mention. Clive's former fiancée is none other than myself. That truly necessary, Monica. Adel, are you alright, Adel? I think the shock may have broken him. That's funny. I like that. Enjoyable. Alright. Are they going to get back together? Surely. Surely. Hey, Lippo Kitty. I'm just getting the revolving door of kitty cats today, aren't I? You mind if we spoke for a moment, Monica? Well, this is convenient. You're just the man I was looking for. Oh? And why is that? You're the one who started this conversation, you first. Well, I was walking through town just now and came upon a tea I remember you used to love quite dearly. Of course, I'm not certain if it's still to your liking, but I bought some for you if you would accept it. I would be glad to, thank you. Worry not, my tastes don't change that easy. Hint, hint! 'Tis a relief to hear. Go on, then. Actually, perhaps we should discuss my business first. If you wish, what is it? In truth, while I was inspecting the marketplace myself, I happened to purchase your... Come on, y'all, just say you want to be betrothed again. Like, yeah, they were betrothed, but then the rebellion happened, and the country fell, and he joined the resistance, but their betrothal was dissolved officially because her house publicly supported the rebellion, and her grandfather behind the scenes funded the liberation, which Clive joined. So, in order to not lose all of their land, they had to publicly dissolve the betrothal because Clive was a known rebel, I guess? Like, rebel against the two?
Clive.
That's what we're going for here? Clive is a bad name? That's what we're going for here? Out of all the weird-ass fantasy names in this game, we're gonna mock Clive? You do like that so many people answer your Dominions questions? Lots of awesome people in the chat? Fuck yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of really knowledgeable people. And there's also just a lot of really complicated information, so it's good to have multiple sets of eyes, because there are things that I've felt like I've known about the game, only to find out, oh, it works kind of that way, but not exactly, right? Like, so it's good to get additional information. You mean to say that bun is for me? Who else would it be for? Strange how the stars seem to align sometimes. Perhaps we could take tea together. You're certain you don't mind? I wouldn't have suggested it if I did. Yes, I suppose not. Forgive me for dithering. I shall prepare for our meal at once. I wonder, how long has it been since we've dined together like this? Far too long by my estimations. Thank you, Monica. Oh, so vague. Come on. You could have a bigger again, yet another reason why I would love if there were fewer characters, right, and more robust rapport conversations. Like, actually let them build arcs, because then next conversation we could go into them having this tea together, this little meal together, and coming to terms and being like, is this gonna happen? Are we doing this? You know? And then them being kind of like, yeah, assuming that the liberation succeeds, we're doing this. You know? Anyways. That is Monica done. So let's move on to Renault, who we don't actually have much left on. Clive has one conversation. Although the conversation on who attacks first, depending or not depending on attack speed, went a bit over your head when they started talking about numbers and units. That's because it's a little vague. Like, there is actually a little bit of randomization in that formula. So, for example, random concept, like if you had two armies, one was size 200 and one was size 100 for units, and they both move at each other, the 200 is probably going to move first because it gets priority, right? So it will probably move into the province of the 100, and that's where the battle will be. But if they're both 200, it's a little random on which one is going to move into the province, right? Assuming that they're moving into the provinces that they're currently in, right? If they're both moving to a new province, then they'll just meet in that province. So yeah, it's actually a little wibbly wobbly because there's a little bit of randomization in that scenario. So don't feel like you don't understand it, because nobody does. It's intentionally designed that way. Yeah, absolutely. Most of the time, you can just boil it down to the bigger army is going to move into the province first. It is a great honor to take arms with you once more, Sir Renaud. Indeed it is. And the innocent boy I once knew has now grown into a gallant young man. It was either that or perish in despair. I've witnessed great horrors these last 10 years, sir. Mountains of bodies, reaching nigh to the heavens themselves. At times I've wondered, what right have I to survive amidst so many dead? The thought alone has nearly consumed me whole. I understand your pain, Clive. In the past, I myself have fallen prey to that very line of thinking. Yet before me stands a man of great virtue, a knight bold and courageous in the defense of his people. It is the least I can offer the memory of the fallen. Is that not what drives you as well, Sir Renaud? Redemption for those you failed to save? Quite right, though I owe my awareness of that entirely to you. I appreciate you saying as much. By the by, I've found it rather emotional tasting your cooking again after all these years. The flavor alone calls to mind memories of our training together, and the stern warmth of your careful instruction. It is a joy I truthfully not felt in years. Thank you, sir, both for then and for now. Peculiar. I had once thought to abandon this march should my presence ever prove too great a burden. Now I seem to bear the opposite effect entirely. Not complain, though. No, I shall meet this newfound esteem with conviction and pride of my own. And I shall see you never feel troubled again. I'm glad that Renaud gets a... Just popped in to say hello. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one. And sleep well. I'm glad that Renaud is getting some less sad conversations. Hodrick and Renaud. Aramis and Melisandre. Renaud and Hodrick. Oh shit, buddy, you on the wrong side. Lord Renaud, is it truly you? It's an honor to see you here, my lord. Have you come to brandish your lance in the name of the local garrison? I know not who you are. Taught me everything I know about the arts of war. Surely you must remember. The Renaud you speak of is no more. Now be gone from my sight, or be run through. That's a little, oof. Because obviously, right, like he probably never stopped training people. And there is Anoirans that are probably not bad people. You seem troubled, Renaud. Is everything alright? Merely a man I encountered. It was an Anoiran soldier who seemed to have served beneath me during my years under their control. In truth, I had thought to inquire upon details of their military, but one such as he couldn't possibly know of much value. Yet more than that, your rage took hold of you. I too have been approached by a former soldier of mine, an enemy who spoke to me with the utmost reverence and warmth. It was an odd feeling to hear such kind words from a man I bore no memory of. Yet when I first encountered you, Renaud, I had found myself experiencing the contrary. The voice which met my ears was not that of an old friend, but a mere stranger who bore no memory of our time together. Such a realization brought me great pain indeed. Not only that, upon your release from their spell, you came to us only under the guise of the Wanderer Laurent. Tell me, Hodrick, does it anger you the way I cast my name aside in favor of simple anonymity? Indeed it does. But more than anything, it angers me to think how close I was to losing you. For had you truly chosen to renounce your past, none could ever bring you back, not even I. Both of us lost years to Zenoira's foul sorcery, Renaud. Yet that is precisely why we live on. To reclaim that which was stolen from us, rather than wallow in its absence. And for me, fighting at your side is one way in which I do just that. Thank you, Hodrick. Your words bring to mind the days of our youth vying for glory as fledgling knights in Her Majesty's employ. In a sense, I suppose renouncing myself would be no different than renouncing those dear memories. Perhaps the time has come to retire this old lance of mine. Though no matter what weapon I yield, I look forward to doing so at your side. You could turn that conversation again. The concept of building upon the rapports and making them more than what they are currently. You could turn that conversation just slightly, and actually have Renaud retire his old lance when he is gifted with a new one by Hodrick, right? In that concept of I know your pain because I went through it too. And I know you look at the weapon that you wield as this thing that did all these horrible things. So here's a new weapon for a new era. Why is this stuff, That's annoying. Why is this stuff not auto-collected? Huh. Interesting. It looks like there's territory that is not under the area that gets auto-collected by these 3 locations. Huh. Alright, that was Renaud, because we'd already done most of his. And we've already done most of Magellan, so popping in. Elaine and Magellan. You see that, Magellan? Fucking Magellan. Oh, Lippo. Morning, Elaine. You're up early. Indeed I am, and wide awake now thanks to your resounding greeting. Sorry about that. Back home, the only thing you'd get from waking up this time of day is a mouthful of sand and some freezing air. Guess I was just surprised to see how much nicer life can feel when you're not fighting against your environment every step of the way. There are few places in this world harsher than the desert, yes. Yet I imagine adapting to an unfamiliar climate could prove equally harsh. I'm impressed it hasn't seemed to affect you, Magellan. Yeah, well, if you can survive the kind of sun I'm used to, you can survive just about anywhere. Not to mention all the bandits roaming the region. Never know when the smallest argument might cost you your life. With how much pride our people got, never much liked asking for help. It's why Gloucester was living among you, is it not? To serve as an intermediary with the kingdom at large. Yep, it's only because of him that we got enough water and food to keep going. Had hell of a lot less kids dying young once he showed up too. He even used to sit and listen to every word that fools like me felt like telling him. All that good got left in the dust the second Zenoira showed up. Everything he worked for, the lives we made for ourselves, gone before we even knew what was happening. Just you wait, Elaine. Me and you are gonna drive those bastards out of Fevrith, get our desert back for good. That seems fun. Aubin Magellan. Damn, it's cold. This is snow, huh? Almost feels like some kind of freezing white sand. Gotta wonder how the folks here deal with it all year round. Like we had it any better. That desert will kill you during the day, then chill you to the bone once night comes knocking. No matter what they're facing, people always figure out ways to adapt. True. It's what it means being alive, I guess. Still, it's strange thinking we never be standing here if it wasn't for Elaine. Remember what the boss used to tell us? Get out of the desert, see Februith for what it's got to give? It made sense coming from someone who loved that place as much as she did. Pissed me off every damn time I heard it. It's because she knew something had to change, Magellan. Her whole life she'd watched our people get treated like nothing more than liars and thieves. But us, we had a chance to show the world what that stretch of sand means to us. To show them who we really are. If she seriously meant all that, then she should have just said so. Yeah, like that work. Whole speech would have gone in one ear and out the other. Was right, though. Come on, we got work to do. I definitely feel like Magellan, and... Too quick. Aubin are a cool pairing. I would love to hear more from them. Magellan and Rosalinda. I talk too much. It's weird in my mouth. Rosalinde. Sure you don't want to stay inside? Of course, I'm sure. Not often I get to bathe in the light of day like this. This ain't any old light, though. Sun burns brighter here than anywhere else in all of Februith. You might end up hurting your skin if you're not careful. Well, isn't someone considerate? Just keeping an eye out, same as I do for Liza, or anyone for that matter. And I appreciate that, I truly do. But the blessing of the Fae is more than enough to protect me from mere sunbeams. As for my skin, I'm sure you've noticed I don't look like most of our other elves. Because you're a dark elf, yeah? Whole damn town kept going on about how stunning you look. And what do you think about my looks? Let me see here. A little close, aren't you? Sorry, just trying to find the right words. When I look at you, it's kind of like I'm staring into the black of night. Instead of scared, I feel almost calm, at peace. Again, you surprise me, Magellan. You're quite the poet. The majority of elves favor the rays of the midday sun. But dark elves like me tend to prefer the moonlight instead. Though it does vary from elf to elf, of course. Huh? Doesn't that mean you should be doing this at night, then? Well, I do enjoy the moon's gentle glow. There's nothing quite like standing in the warmth of the sun, either. I hear ya. All comes down to wanting something you can't usually get. Enough of this damn heat. I'm heading back to town for a nice freezing sharbet? We looked that up yesterday. Sharbet? Have fun out here with your fairies and all. Ooh! There was a moment. It does sound rather refreshing. Let's just hope he has gold enough for the both of us. Hold up! You're like royalty. You should have gold enough for the both of you. I think that's Magellan all done. And 3 knocked out in quick order. Alright. We'll do Oakley's Sharon. Well, no, Elaine has 3. I wonder if Oakley's is a romance option. We'll do Sharon. Sharon Oakley's. Lady Oakley's, I hadn't realized you had joined the Liberation as well. Yes, my dear Sharon. And now that I have, we could be together once more. Wait, that flower crown you're carrying? It is, made with the same kind of blossoms as the one you gave me when we first met. really were the most charming person I'd ever encountered. I can still remember the delicate way you approached me, asking if I'd lost my flower crown somewhere. Well, of course, every angel I had seen in the scriptures was shown wearing one. So when I saw you alone in the middle of the forest, I assumed you'd simply misplaced yours. It's rather a shameful memory thinking of it now. The holy texts weren't entirely wrong, though. We do wear such ornaments during certain ceremonies. Whoever penned the tomes must have been a remarkable human indeed, though I must admit, Sharon, I far prefer the crown you made to those of my homeland. Now, observe this dream blossom, capable of transforming a sunny afternoon into the darkest of nights. What? Oh, right, that's actually the item, which we never use. We should use those for our Vestrals. Raise your head and gaze upon the flickering lights of the endless expanse. They're beautiful, Oakleys, just as I remember them being all those years ago. Almost like we've been thrown back in time to the days of our youth. Indeed, often did I wish to enjoy these sights together while we were apart. And now we can whenever we want. That's interesting, actually, for a character to use an actual, like, in-battle item in a rapport conversation. Lady Oakleys, is there something I can assist you with? What the fuck, Lippo? What the fuck, Lippo? Not tonight, thank you. I was merely preparing to turn in for the evening. And I suggest you do the same. You must surely be tired from the day's work. Yes, I suppose I am. You seem rather troubled, Sharon. What is it that ails you? Oh, It's just that I learned long ago that you're more than capable of anything you set your mind to. It was often obvious that you were quite exhausted from your duties back at Rondmort. Yet you always found the energy to play with the children without so much as a moment's hesitation. Oh, he touchin'. A pleasant memory, yes, but how does that relate to your present dismay? Well, the same is true in our battles, Oakleys. You're always doing whatever you can to protect me, while I never have the chance to support you in any way, neither in battle nor out of it. You mean to say... What a wretched fool I've been. So quick was I to act, I failed to even notice the compassion you bore for me. Please, you mustn't blame yourself. Are you certain you've not need of a rest, Sharon? Fine, I assure you. In that case, perhaps I would rather like a nice wing massage. I don't know, that felt a little like... Well, it's not done. Always been good at this, Sharon. And your legs make as fine a pillow as ever. Glad you think so. But more than anything, I'm happy to know I can actually be of use to you. As am I for you. To be completely honest, our friendship has felt a bit one-sided of late. You did so much for me, and I wanted nothing more than to make you feel cared for in the same way. Though it feels a bit embarrassing to be saying that out loud. Sharon, please, you do plenty. And you may not always realize this, but the day I met you was the most blessed day of my life. Oh, come now. I know you're just trying to cheer me up. I am, perhaps, but it's the truth, too. Well, I'm pleased to hear you say so, and in the spirit of openness, I feel the same. Oh, they're both blushing. Lesbian sex is weird. Insert that meme there as there's just wings all over the place. Oh. Elaine and Oakleys. I wonder if this will be a... It was only a dream. Tis rather strange we first met in Cornea, Oakleys. Angels such as you are almost never seen outside Albion, if I remember correctly. You do. Then what was your reason for leaving, if you don't mind me asking? Ever since I was a young girl, I couldn't wait to be rid of my home. Thus, when the opportunity arose to work for the Orthodoxy, I took it, and traveled to the world's churches under orders from our pontifex. Despite my relative inexperience, everyone met my arrival with such incredible warmth. None more so than Sharon, with whom I quickly became remarkably close. Yet that cheer turned to despair upon my return to Albion. As I told my parents of my newfound friend, they greeted the news not with joy but with anger. berated me for ever presuming to make company with a human. I failed to understand. What was the very pontifex they revered not the same race as she? The basis for which you fled your home was to be free of the intolerance of my parents espoused. To be free of the intolerance my parents espoused, not of. Long had they warned me of the dangers of humankind, but I simply couldn't bring myself to share in their bigotry. Though it was only after their condemnation of Sharon that I finally decided to sever ties, at which point I returned to Rondmore to live in the manner I believed in. That must have been a difficult decision to make, Oakleys, even if you felt it to be a warranted one. It was. Of course it was. But I knew if I stayed, I would merely be subjected to more of their despicable slander, while Sharon cared not for a person's race or upbringing and would gladly welcome any who arrived at her door. It is her greatest virtue, Elaine, and a fatal weakness should it result in her being taken hostage again. Which is why I must always stay at her side, to excise the buds of her doubts before they ever blossom into full-grown roses. I'm more than certain you'll do just that, Oakley. Yeah, fair enough. What? That's funny, Jay. Oop. We already teleported. My bad. Elaine and Oakley. I demand to be part of your unit in the next battle, Elaine. And I would be honored to have you. Yet I wonder, is there a particular reason you're asking? Because you're better than anyone else at staying out of my way. And because we fight well together. When any wrong move could be the last you make, there can be no greater blessing in a trusted ally. You mean to imply you trust me, then? Glad to hear it. That was purely a hypothetical, I'll have you know. All I'm saying is that your skill is adequate. Which is a compliment in itself coming from you. Thank you, Oakleys. You've got some nerve. Take it however you want. I confess I trust deeply in you as well. Each of us bears strong proficiency with shield, allowing us to press the attack while keeping our defenses raised. And given the swiftness of your blade and the precision of its thrusts, I know I never need to worry when I have you at my side. Oakleys? If that's truly how you feel, then you'd better just keep me there. At your side, I mean. And you had best not think of doing otherwise, understand? Uh-oh. She caught the fifis. Realized she cared so much. I was actually assuming that Oakleys would be one of those people like Hilda, where they're so obsessed with their other person. You know, I assumed that Oakleys would be so obsessed with Sharon that she wouldn't be interested in a relationship with Elaine. But that does not seem to be the case. Hello there, Oakleys. Feels as though I've been seeing you much of you lately, even outside of battle. And it seems your feelings are playing tricks on you. At any rate, you needn't mind me. I'm just looking for something is all. And what is it you're after, exactly? The search will go twice as fast if we work together. I'm not here to answer your questions, Elaine. Now stay out of my way, and I'll stay out of yours. Very well, if that's what you wish. She's just following me around. Why do you insist on following me, Oakleys? What was I meant to do? Leave you in the forest to fend for yourself? You told me before that you trusted in my skill as a warrior, but it appears that was hardly more than a cruel lie. It's clear now you think me too helpless to even leave camp alone. That's not true. You bear great strength, Elaine, great enough to overcome almost any challenge that arrives before you. Yet our enemy is a deceptive one, and will stop at nothing to see you slain. Don't you understand? Why do you laugh, unless... Forgive me, Oakleys. I only said what I did in order to gauge your reaction. You mean this was all a carefully laid trap and I just walked straight into it? Yeah, basically. Indeed, though that's perhaps not how I would choose to phrase the matter. In any case, I think I'm finally starting to understand you a little better, and thank you for always worrying about me. Enemy be damned, there's only one deceptive fool in this forest, and he stands directly before me. I'm sorry, Oakleys, I meant no harm. Now I beg of you, lay down your blade. Is she gonna stab me? You'll have to try harder than that if you wish to escape my wrath. I'll make you rue the day you ever dared cross me. Dear Lord, she's chasing him through the forest. You're gonna kill him. That was not a... Okay, never mind. I take it back. She is one of those unwilling to form a relationships. But it felt really, really close. Home and Elaine. Good old calm. Allow me to thank you once more for granting us refuge in your army, my prince. 'Tis nothing that demands gratitude, Colm. Your aid is a most welcome boon in these difficult times. And what of Lady Melisandre? I pray she hasn't given you too much trouble. Not particularly, no. That's a relief to hear. Strange, I would have expected her to pursue him day and night in search of a marriage proposal, or even a mere lover's tryst. Is it concern for the prince which stays her hand? Perhaps an uncharacteristic bout of shyness? Colm? Whatever the case, it's best I not interfere in the affairs of her heart. Pardon me for saying, sir, but I trust you'll treat my lady with all the love and kindness that she deserves. I could manage no less. You mean my role as her commander, yes? You're a fine attendant indeed, Colm. 'Tis plain to see how deeply you care for her. I'm certain such loyalty provides great comfort in her times of need, much as Joseph does for me. How I wish that were true. While I may still stand in her service for now, Lady Melisandre is already a woman grown, and it demands every ounce of effort I have to ensure my counsel does not come across as intrusive or overbearing. Wonder if Joseph bears the same worries regarding our relationship. Thank you, Colm. I shall speak with him tonight and allay whatever concerns he may be carrying. It's a wonderful idea, my prince. I'm certain he'll be pleased to know how you feel. Thinking on it now, I suppose my lady does the same for me at times. Perhaps it is that shared kindness which makes her and the prince such an ideal match for one another. Calm it down. Yeah, Melisandre's conversations are going to be, I'm assuming, all over Elaine. Elaine and Adel, no. Colm and Sharon, yes. What a quandary. It would seem Lady Melisandre hardly has a change of clothes left. I could always hire a tailor in town, of course, but such humble attire would ill fit her noble stature. Is something the matter, Colm? What fine timing, Lady Sharon. Might I trouble you for a moment of your wisdom? The issue is... this. Fade to black. Have you ever thought about making her clothes yourself? Sorry, me? But I've not even the skill of an amateur. These weathered hands are far past their days of holding a needle. Granted, I could attempt it, yet I fear it would take me years before I produced anything actually worth wearing. It's never too late to take up a new hobby, Colm. Besides, there's not a man alive more dedicated to Melisandre than you, which means none can possibly offer the caring, attentive tailorship that you can. But am I truly capable of such artistry? You are, and I'm certain the Father himself will see to it that you succeed. That is not a guarantee. Thank you, Lady Sharon. This day you have stoked the flame of servitude which burns deep within my breast. As you say, age is not but an excuse for the weak of heart. Mark my words, from this moment forth, I shall become the greatest tailor this world has ever seen. Hold on. Calm down. I'm not sure I've ever seen him that inspired before. Let's just pray it doesn't have too severe an impact on his other work. Sharon, you just fucked that man's, whole trajectory up. Colm and Miriam. Gotta be this one. Yep. Armament sharpened, food prepared, clothing examined, pillows fluffed. Yes, that should be everything. Ah, Lady Miriam, was it? Quite so. Pray forgive the interruption. I couldn't help but be captivated by the fervor which you approach your work. You'll allow me the question, do you ever stop to rest or grant yourself a moment's leisure? But of course. Manner of attendant would I be if I neglected my own well-being? As for leisure, I've recently begun research into how I might brew the perfect cup of tea. A labor which Lady Melisandre has benefited quite greatly from, I might add. Is that not merely another form of work? Ah, but I also enjoy fishing as well. It is a great pleasure indeed ensnaring Lady Melisandre's favorite varieties. That seems to be yet more work. Yes. Perhaps the only reason I enjoy such hobbies at all is their prospective benefit to my lady. I suppose I've been fated to the servant's life since the day I was born. I can't claim much different, to be frank. Everything I am is dedicated to Princess Virginia and her livelihood. Yet it would seem I've still much to learn in the ways of devotion. I shall take this exchange to heart, Sir Colm. It is a rare sight to witness one inspired by my duty rather than repulsed by it, but I accept your words with pride. In any case, apologies again for the interruption. Clearly much left to do. Ah, not at all. My tasks for the day are already complete. Then how do you plan to occupy yourself? Well, I suppose my lady's tent could use some tidying up, and I should begin thinking about tomorrow's dinner. Would seem an attendant's work is never truly complete. Go read a book, my dude. Go fish for your own fish. Colm and Lex, which feels like it makes perfect sense. Lady Melisandre. You okay there, Colm? Those hands get any shakier, you're gonna... Ah, it appears I've spilled my tea. Listen, you can worry all you want, but it won't change anything, so you might as well just relax, yeah? Yes, you're right. At this juncture, I've done all I can. Alas, Lady Melisandre has spurned my advice at every opportunity. No surprise there. Most girls want to dress themselves before they head into town, you know. Besides, she's with Elaine. Everything's gonna be fine. Really are overprotective, huh? You even kept an eye on me to make sure I didn't ruin her day. Tell you, there's nothing weirder than waking up to you trying to stop me from leaving my tent. Actually, I was just thinking I might make that up to you. You mean with the pie you just dropped? Sorry, I'm not sure I love the taste of dirt. Oh, my word. It would seem I owe you an apology, yet another apology now. I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but you're not like most attendants. If anything, you're more like a dad losing sleep over his defiant daughter. Perhaps so. Though as her aide, I shall gladly abide by any decision Lady Melisandre makes. I only pray her choice leads her toward happiness, not rejection. Not this run. As you may be aware, I've stood in service of House Maye? I can't remember if it's Maye. I think it's Maye. Since long before my lady's birth, and upon her arrival into this world, I was tasked not only with attending to her, but seeing to her education as well. Before that day, my work with House Maye was no different from any other profession. Yet having watched my lady grow into the fine young woman she is today, such marvels have brought me greater pride and greater joy than I ever thought imaginable. Guess that explains why you care about her so much. Indeed, and I hope this conversation shall help you excuse my worry, even somewhat. Wait, don't bow, you're gonna spill your tea again. Well, you know. Can't win them all. Alright, Melisandre and Colm. Elaine hasn't said so much as a single word to me today. It is a sad state of affairs, my lady. He is a cruel man indeed to toy with your heart in such a manner.
Yet he did show us great kindness in overlooking our past dealings with Zenoira. Perhaps the queenship Lady Melisandre desires is not as distant as it appears to be. Though should she marry into the royal family, none would remain to assume leadership of the noble House Maye. Maye? Mie? Mie? I don't remember what it was, damn it! What are you mumbling about over there, Colm? It's almost time we head off to bed. Have you ever considered the impending existential danger to your lineage, my lady? No, frankly, and now is not the moment to discuss inheritance. We've almost died once in this war, and there's no telling when it may happen again. As it stands, Elaine's mercy is the only reason we still live. So for now, I wish to fight it aside, even at the risk of my own demise. I suppose you make a fair point. I only wish I had more time to tend to my appearance before we rode into each new battle. I can't bear the thought of Elaine seeing my hair a mess, and my unblemished skin covered in disgusting sweat. Dear Lord Jesus, lady! Is that not precisely why I stand beside you, my lady?
I was very suspicious.
Merely say the word in the midst of combat, and I shall ensure you appear as fair as the light of dawn. What? Thus Prince Elaine shall only ever gaze upon you at your absolute best. Colm, please. If you attempted such a thing on the battlefield, neither of us would live to tell the tale. Enough of this frivolous talk. If I ever hope to court Elaine, I've no choice but to fight on. That's precisely what I plan to do.
Actually surprised that Melisandre is the more reasonable of the two in this conversation, but now that we know he basically raised her, it kind of makes sense where she got a lot of her personality from.
You ain't cute.
Huh?
Can't fight crime if you ain't cute.
Yeah. Agree to disagree.
Now come, Colm. We need our energy for tomorrow. Of course, my lady. Rest well.
Casey brought me a snack, so now my mouth's gonna be full.
Keyboards.
I don't like that. He's got a big F on his back. F's in chat, please.
RGB weapons.
Unacceptable.
Oh my god.
His name is Keystroke. Oh, okay. Worse.
Colm? It's an ambush, my lady. You must escape. And abandon you to die. I'll do no such thing. I'll not be far behind you, I swear it. Now go while you still have time. I beg you, don't waste your energy on me. I'm not leaving you here. You must. There's no knowing what numbers the enemy brings. Cease this complaining at once. I'm staying with you and that's final. Just as you stood by me when House Maye was on the verge of collapse.
Y'all could be moving rather than talking right now.
Now we're making back. There's so many little typos in these rapport conversations. We're making it back together, Colm, even if I have to carry you myself. Persistent little pests, aren't they? Incredible skill, my lady. Deflected their arrows as though they were child's playthings. I would love if she could deflect arrows. Awfully chipper for someone who's been shot in the leg. Does it hurt? True wound here is to my pride. I place you in great danger yet. And there, that's the bleeding stopped. Come, we should be out of their sight if we can just make it over to that ridge. Very well. While I'm certainly grateful for the aid, my lady, you must never put yourself in such peril, especially not for the sake of a mere servant in your employ. Should a similar predicament ever arise again, there shall only be one proper course of action. Forsake me, and see that you yourself live on. Calm, what is it? You're hereby forbidden to die before my wedding day. That's an order. I understand, my lady. And no more talk of me abandoning you either. As you wish. I'll not depart this world without first witnessing your happiest of moments. Glad to hear it. As for me, well, I'm simply honored to serve such a wonderful woman.
I feel a little bad that I didn't pick her now. Alright, that is home done. To Aramis. We'll go upwards. That is a different prince you could go after, Melisandre. Although he kind of renounced his title, so maybe you're not interested.
And there's another one. Nobody told me the men of the Liberation would be so handsome. It's nothing compared to Elaine, of course, but far more beauty than I expect from a simple mercenary.
Lady Melisandre of Cornea's esteemed House Maye. You've been watching me for some time now. To what do I owe the honor? Apologies, Sir Aramis, was it? You carry yourself quite unlike your peers, with more refinement, more elegance. Makes me wonder where you hail from. Is it a noble family, or royalty, perhaps? And heavens no. I simply learned common courtesy so as not to offend the lords and ladies I serve.
Liar!
Though I admit, I've always had a fondness for the stage. If you think me well suited to it, I'll gladly accept the compliment.
Then would you be able to play the role of a bandit instead, or barbarian, if asked?
Of course, should one of our tactics require such a ruse, or should my employer will it?
Strange. For a sellsword, you don't seem very motivated by money. If anything, you're more like a heroic prince, one who hides his noble standing in order to fight for justice.
Think too much of me, my lady. My heart beats for gold and nothing else.
If you say so. Either way, I have a feeling we'll be spending plenty more time together. I'd love to hear more about your mercenary work, what battles you won, who taught you those manners.
Aye, the same regarding the illustrious House Maye. Farewell, my lady. Liars all around!
A keener eye than I thought. Not used to being caught so unaware. I'll have to watch out for her moving forward.
I do actually appreciate that Melisandre is far more capable than originally painted. Like, she was just kind of like a fawning noble the first time we met her, is how she was portrayed. Like, skilled with the sword, sure, but kind of a spoiled brat.
You know, Osh, you're actually quite handsome.
But damn, is she a what's the female version of a womanizer? You and I can only think of insulting terms, right? Cause like womanizer has this kind of like implication, and this is so sexist, obviously, right? But womanizer has this implication of esteem, right? Like, he's a womanizer, which is not a good thing, but he's a womanizer also kind of implies that he is good enough to be a womanizer, right?
Look, not really accurate.
Well, yeah. Maybe, right? Because, like, yeah.
Not L.
So, I don't know if there's a, because she.
God, I hate to hire you.
Oh no.
Every time. Every time.
You know, Osh, you're actually quite handsome. If only you didn't hide behind robes and hoods all the time. I'll thank you not to stare, please. My looks have always been a complicated matter in truth. How so? Well, I'm happy to say I share much of my appearance with my late mother. But that only makes it more obvious I'm her son, meaning my every failure is a blemish upon her name. Sometimes I wonder if a wretch like me only even deserves her visage. Why not put in a little more effort then? At least then you could honor her memory in the process. No, a failure with a pretty face is still but a failure. I learned that shame in many ceremonies I've attended honoring my brother's achievements. Every time people would ask me what I was capable of, what great feats I could perform. But I never had an answer. Even now I've done nothing of note with my life. How cruel. A precious gem doesn't become so on its own. It needs to be polished and cared for, not smashed into 1,000 pieces. Just believe in yourself, Osh. Believe that all your magic and your research will one day be worth it. Once you can do that, you'll come to like the way you look too, I'm sure of it. Well, I suppose it couldn't hurt to try. That's more like it. And as for my part, I can't wait to see the new and improved you. Again, right? Like, kind of surprised at the... I mean, she is very much like, oh, you're handsome. Oh, you're not, right? But I'm surprised at how insightful she is a lot of the times. Here we are, then. Are you ready to begin? We really have to do this, Melisandre? I'm sorry to say we do. As Elaine's old friend and my greatest rival for his heart, I have no choice but to defeat you. Now come. Today we learn who can fashion the ensemble Elaine likes best. It's a dress-off. Gorgeous pendant. Do you mind? I saw it first. Liar. You were just off buying a necklace at the shop next door. Very well. I'll just have to settle for the bracelet beside it then. That's the one I was looking at. It matches Elaine's eye color almost perfectly, see? I was just thinking the same thing, actually. Fine, you can have it. It'll look better on you anyway. Are you sure? I am, but I want that sapphire brooch instead. Ugh, why do our tastes have to be so similar? It's strange, Scarlet. Despite the competition, I rather enjoyed shopping with you. As did I. Let's do it again sometime, but maybe as friends instead of enemies. No dice. I feel like Melisandre is just gonna always be waiting for Scarlet to die. I interest you in some flowers, Fair Knight? Or fresh vegetables picked just this morning? I appreciate the offers, I truly do, but, what are you doing still in town, Adel? Our mother is worried sick about you. Sorry, our mother? Should have known not to let you run off alone. Have to get home at once. Hey, she rescued him. Melisandre, what's the meaning of this? You needed help, didn't you? You seem far too flustered to resolve the situation on your own. I suppose that's fair? Still, why make us out to be siblings? I think it quite obvious. Our hair color is almost identical. None would even raise an eyebrow at such a suggestion. Yet, judging by your mannerisms, I imagine you don't have any real sisters of your own. Ah, was it that obvious? You're right, though. I can't quite act the part if I've never actually experienced it. I wonder if this is what it's really like having a sister. Ugh. How could you even imagine it after such a sickly display? I didn't think it was that offensive. That could have been more robust. I actually enjoyed this concept of Melisandre coming to Adel's rescue. I'd love to see her teaching him how to act around girls. Well, look who it is. Such striking blue hair, such vibrant skin, impressive as ever, even from a distance. It feels like almost yesterday we were at war with each other over this very land. Though it didn't last especially long, not with the way he charged towards me, absent even a hint of fear in his eyes. Is that you, Melisandre? Oh, Elaine, I just happened to be passing through the area. Wasn't watching you, if that's what you were wondering. Oh? I'm surprised you didn't call out to me if that were the case. Luxuriant mane, and how enchanting his gaze. Must you stand so close, Melisandre? You're beginning to terrify me. I'm sorry. I should know better than to stare. By the by, how would you feel about a little sparring match? Now? I don't see why not. Glad to hear it. This way I can look at you all I want. Now let's begin. Rather motivated about this, Melisandre, but so that I'll not hold myself back either. Or would I want you to? After all, none can pique my excitement quite like you can. Calm down. Calm down, Melisandre. Calm down. Let her down easy, Elaine. Whoa! Knocking things over. Out in the snow. What? That should be good for today. With just enough time to head back to my tent before breakfast as well. Elaine! How long have you been standing there? Only a moment, in truth. I'm surprised you didn't notice me sooner, Melisandre. You're not supposed to see me like this. My hair is a complete mess from all my training. Apologies. I only meant to practice the blade myself, but you were already here by the time I arrived. In that moment, Melisandre, I found myself utterly captivated by your beauty. Did, indeed. The dance of your swords calls to mind the most elegant ballet I could ever imagine. The sight made all the more magical by the amber hues of the morning light glistening on the fresh-laid snow. It's an even greater charmer than I'd realized, except he's not. This only means I'll have more rivals for his heart. Melisandre? Sorry, I was just taken aback by your compliments, even if they were little more than gratuitous flattery. Please, I meant every last word I said. The same thoughts occurred to me when first we met, as well, despite your allegiance to Zenoira at the time. You have a keen skill and limitless beauty, like most any I've ever seen. No surprise you felt confident enough to announce yourself at our camp entirely alone. I think you wouldn't have noticed all that. How could I not? Those swords in hand, there could truthfully be none more talented than you. What am I supposed to say to that? Melisandre? Forgive me, I didn't mean to offend. Didn't. It's just that kind of praise is a special thing. All my life I've been expected to be the best, whether that was at military strategy, academics, or even simple etiquette. I studied every day and every night in hopes of attaining that goal, of proving myself worthy of leading House Maye. Must be a painful memory indeed. Would have been if I wasn't so naturally gifted. To me, schooling was just another chore like any other. Not a challenge, and certainly not compelling. That is, until I started learning the blade. Everything about it captured my imagination. It was then and only then that I wanted to be the best at something. Not for my house, but for myself. And to hear you say that I actually am is the highest honor you could possibly give me. And I'm glad I decided to speak the truth. My Elaine. Whoa! It's on the cheek. But why did you? It's my way of saying thank you. Remind you to do your best too. Now I really should be getting to breakfast. See you there. I think that's the first actual kiss we've gotten. I don't think Scarlet kissed us. How am I even meant to respond to that? How do you think? Was merely a dream! Oop, wrong button. Alright. Sandre done. Aramis still has quite a few. But he is a prince. Aramis and Leia. Oh, fuck it. We gotta do Elaine and Aramis as well. Might as well do this one. I must know, Aramis, do you still plan to continue on as a mercenary even after the war? I'll not be returning to the royal family if that's what you ask. Has abandoning your lineage not proven difficult at times? It has, though I believe my actions have troubled Gilbert far more than they have myself. At first, I struggled greatly to conceal my identity. After all, I had been instructed in the arts of the royal blade from a very young age. Yet in order to conform to my surroundings, I cast those teachings aside and began to emulate the mercenaries around me. Which was no small feat, mind you, given the inferior craftsmanship of their blades. But before long, I had found myself growing used to the metal's many defects. And as I did, I began to prove in a way that I needn't let my bloodline define who I am. It was all mere rationalization in the end, a vain attempt to flee from the errors of my past. With every swing of my mercenary's blade, I would question why I even still roamed this earth. Why I should live, while my failings caused the demise of so many others. Yet death was not the answer I sought, not while I knew that Gilbert was still alive. And now he has finally reclaimed our lands from Zenoira's clutches, owing entirely to you. It is not my acceptance he fights for, but yours, Aramis. Whether it be in his duty as your king or simply as your loving brother. Then it would seem I've no choice but to live on, both for my nation and for Gilbert. Nice. And there's Leia. Okay, cool. I must say, I didn't expect to be identified so quickly. And here I thought myself a more masterful liar than that. Honestly, I did think myself mistaken at first. Your mannerisms aren't quite what I would call royal. But there's no hiding the eyes of our late king. I'd rather you not make the comparison. I've long since abandoned my noble blood. Still, it's only natural you see him in me. I know you bore a deep love for my father. Then you also know I have to ask, why did you forsake his throne? As your brother has said, there are many among your people who wish for your return. And you, Leia? What is it that you wish for the man who did nothing but watch as his father perish? Well, until his dying breath, my king desired the prosperity of Drakenhold above all else. Yet I'm certain he would be grateful to see his eldest son survive this war, no matter how that came about. And I feel much the same. Now cease this senseless self-loathing, please. To be frank, when I realized it was you who stood before me, there was no anger in my heart, only relief. Which is why you kept my identity hidden, instead of using your knowledge of it against me, that is. What duplicity are you implying? Forgive me, I didn't mean to discredit your loyalty. In any case, thank you for not doubting my intentions, and for idolizing my father so dearly. There's no resolution in that. Yeah. Makes sense that he has multiples with Prim. Travis! Interesting. Reading there. Why have you snuck up on me, spy? I may have mistaken you for an enemy and cut you down. Sorry about that. I just get the feeling you're hiding something. Or maybe a few somethings. Not sure what you mean. I'm little more than a common soldier who enjoys a life of peace and quiet. Sure, common. You know, it's easier finding a single coin in a desert than a swordsman as skilled as you. And That a Drakenhold fairy tale you're reading? The one about a solitary sailsword who rebels against his cruel despot, becomes king himself. Aspiration of yours, perhaps. Certainly have the talent, if nothing else. I think not. If anything, I'd say it brings Elaine to mind. Maybe a prince, but the castle he calls home now lies in the hands of his enemy. And this struggle against Zenoira is our very own rousing tale of revolution. Hence, I thought there may be wisdom to glean, even from fiction like this. Interesting idea. Though that reminds me, there's an Aramis in that story too, just like in ours. What book is he reading? A relative of the main character, yes. The man turns to crime in order to protect his family, and in the end burns at the stake for it. Not that story. Gotcha. Yeah, I remember. He was a good man and fiercely loyal, but it didn't spare him the merciless fate. Your parents must have been peculiar indeed to give you a name like that in Drakenhold. I'll agree with you there. Such a liar. Okay, let's do Virginia's. Finish hers out. We'll do Prim last. Ugh! Aramis and Virginia. This is quite the revelation, Virginia. I never expected you to so earnestly wield the arts I crafted in mere jest. I admit, I had heard rumors of your unbridled ways, but I know them to be true myself. Trust me, I'm just as surprised as you are. But joke or no, this sparring session has more than proven their potential. My only worry is that luscious hair of yours. I trust it's not come to harm. There's no telling how my brother might react to such news. And what does Gilbert have to do with this exactly? Anyone would lament, knowing a precious jewel has suffered damage not long after leaving their care. If he thinks me a jewel, he's awfully poor at showing it. Ah, of course. This must be another one of your jests. Don't take this the wrong way, Ludwig, but I much prefer you as you are now. You're far, far easier to get along with. You have unorthodox tastes for a noble princess. I doubt anyone from my home would agree with you on that point. In fact, those who once knew me as prince still strive desperately to see even a shadow of the man I used to be. Well, not me. I have no fondness for the stiff formality of a royal court myself, nor for your past self. For once, I find myself at a loss for words. And just listen for a second. No matter what life you choose from here on, you'll always be Aramis to me. And that's how I plan to address you, as a simple sellsword, not the heir you once were. I'd like that very much, thank you. Now then, Virginia, you clearly have much to teach me, both in the ways of the world and those of combat. I only hope we find the chance to spar again soon. We surely will. After all, I'd never shy away from an easy victory. Ooh, shots fired. It's true mechanically, though. She will beat the shit out of him. Nope, not items. Go ahead and do Elaine's, and then we'll do Prim's. If I may, Aramis, what do you intend to do once this war reaches its conclusion? What more can a wanderer hope to do than to continue to walk the wanderer's path? Even once the fighting has ended, there shall be towns in need of aid, innocent people who seek to begin their lives anew. Indeed there shall. Yet it's rather an interesting question. You speak as though you're certain we'll be victorious. Certain may not be the correct word, though I assure you I don't plan to let Zenoira defeat us. All the same, what you say is true. Peace is but a single thing among many which Fevrith needs. And more than anything else, I wish to bring back joy back to the hearts of my nation. Even should we reclaim victory in this conquest, much work shall remain to be done. I had only meant to tease, you know. But the more we speak, the more confident I become in your claim to the throne. I only ask that you focus on the task at hand for now, rather than trouble yourself with what comes after. For if we never triumph to begin with, such worries shall prove utterly meaningless in the end. And I'll not see you suffer as I had all those years. Agonizing over your future, you mean? Precisely so. Had my father's aim come to fruition, the world as we know it would be quite different indeed. As a young boy, I often found myself gazing to the future, rather than coming to terms with the reality before me. I dreamt of ascending the throne, of one day reshaping Dragonhold into the nation my father wished it could be. Yet when Zenoira struck, such dreams only served to cloud my vision, and the man known as Ludwig perished in the ensuing battle. In truth, Elaine, I scarcely even deserve to stand in your presence. For the aims my father pursued were none other than the conquest of your homeland, to seize the disgraced Cornea as our own, thus prevailing in the centuries-long feud between our kingdoms. Aramis, I assume you only asked what I plan to do out of some misguided concern for my well-being, yet I demand you save such kindness for those who deserve it more than I. Listen to me, Aramis. What is it? Think of what you told me just now. How you wished that I'd not suffer the same mistakes as you. Such advice was not spoken from one royal family to another, but out of the compassion you bear for me as a friend. I care for you just as deeply as though I hold dearest, Aramis, and I must admit I worry for you as well. Well then, not a soul in the world could remain callous in the face of such words. It appears you've outdone me again, Elaine. And thank you. I shall surely continue to rely on you from here forth. Pray do not hesitate to do the same. Honestly, would have been, again, rapport stuff, and how it can be more involved and lead to better things. Aramis is a great contender for a roaming warrior in a second game. If there is a game in this time period set in a different part of the world after the results of this game's scenario, this game's ending, Aramis is a perfect fit for that, right? Like, and having a lead-in where, in this game, where Elaine and Aramis speak to one another, and Elaine asks Aramis, what are you going to do after the war? And Aramis tells him, honestly, I'm going to leave. Because me sticking around is going to be a potential problem for my brother. And I am not going to go back to what I once was. I want my brother to rule, but if I'm around, there will always be this thing, right? Nobles approaching me to try to work against my brother, overthrow my brother, people feeling as though I should be king instead of my brother, etc., etc. So he would be a great selection, much like Amalia, to be like, oh, well, the war with Zenoira is done. I show up in the next game, right? Elsewhere. And it'd be really cool to see that type of stuff in this game. Obnoxious indeed.
I tried playing with it.
It never works.
Well, all the matches that play that, the whole team left
Yeah.
the other team. But together, we went our point. We're on the same team, and I told him, I was like, I think that's good. You more me. And he gets. I think I told you I got more kills than you. I'm like,
Be competitive. You're looking for validation. He looking for you to be like,
that'd be nice.
oh, you did so good. do I do? Good old Prem. Is something the matter, Prem? You seem rather troubled over there. Oh, Sir Aramis. Well, it's embarrassing to admit it, but I've spent almost all my money at the local tavern. Oh? Whenever I put in a hard day's work, I always reward myself with a hearty meal. But lately I've been working even harder than normal, meaning my diet has grown somewhat out of control. However you pronounce that word? Hash? I don't know. Steak, rice pilaf, pot au bois, a nice salad here, a tart tatin? I don't know that one either. There. I'm getting hungry though. Fresh pasta, the most wonderful galette. No, we looked at it's galette. We looked that up. And carpaccio and oysters. Dear Lord, Prem! I'm not sure how your stomach can possibly handle all that. My stomach isn't the issue, sadly. My coin purse is. Have you ever considered rethinking this methodology of yours? Perhaps you wouldn't be bleeding your funds dry if you rewarded yourself with something other than food. Well, that's a wonderful idea. What should I replace it with? What if you were... Hold up. I'm glad there's a second part to that sentence. What if you were my reward? Talking to you, that is? No, I don't think that will work at all. Oh, right, of course not. I'm sure you have far better things to do than entertain me whenever I please. That's not the problem, Prem. Were that your reward, I could never speak to you at any other time. That would be almost like punishment. I only suggested it so I could learn more about you, too. Did you now? Far be it from me to refuse the wishes of so beautiful a rose. Primrose. Nice. I'm sorry? You may ask about me any time you'd like, but first we must decide upon a new reward for you. Going to help me think of one, Sir Aramis? How could I not? After all, I was the one who suggested it in the first place. I suppose so, yes. Now, let's see here. Now, see here! Right. Holy shit, that's a bunch of people. Moment of your time, Prem. I believe I've come up with an adequate reward for you. Does it have something to do with all these soldiers? Indeed it does. Members of our army who have found themselves on the receiving end of your magic. If you would, everyone. Her reward is people coming and thanking her? Because I kind of feel like she should be getting that already anyways. Lady Prim, we're forever grateful for the healing you provided us. Hooray for Lady Prim! Long live Lady Prim! Dear Lord, that's a lot. Also, the music went fucking hard right there. Well, what do you think? I have to say, I felt almost like royalty for a second there. It's just the kind of surprise I'd expect from someone like you, Sir Aramis. It seems you didn't enjoy it then. That's not what I meant. It was just quite a new experience for me. Still, I'm not sure I could handle parade in my honor every time I want a reward. Yes, I suppose it wasn't the most practical of ideas. Spectacle aside, though, I did enjoy being applauded like that. Reminds me of when I was young, actually. My sister always used to tell me when I'd done a good job, usually accompanied by a nice long hug. Interesting. In that case, I've no choice but to do the same. But are you sure, Sir Aramis? I was going to say, just going, every time you do a good job in a day, you go to Sir Aramis and he just says, good job, and gives you a nice long hug. That's the reward. Stick with the food. Just stick with the food. I am, though you'll need to let me know each time you accomplish something noteworthy. Only then will I be able to tell you what fine work you've done. This is getting to be a bit more effort than I bargained for. But before I forget, we only emerged victorious in yesterday's battle thanks to your magic. Performed admirably indeed, Prim. How glad I am to be freed of to have freed such a gorgeous blossom from her Drakenhold jail cell those many days ago. Thank you, Aramis. Not sure my heart could handle receiving a reward like this every new achievement. And Prim goes with him. And Hilda follows her. Because she can't leave well enough alone. Alright, what do we got going on? We did Monica, Renault, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We did 7 in a quick little hour and a half. Still plenty left, but we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. We're on the back half. And again, a lot of these people have been completed. And the more we do as we go, like these last several are probably not going to have very many left when we get there. So that's good. Aubin only has one conversation with fucking Elaine left. So yeah. Cool. Fran barely has any conversations left. Sylvie has a bunch. Nina, almost done. Yeah. Alright, should be good. We are going to end this stream here. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna get some food. Do that whole jazz, cook something, take a little breather, and then be back around 7-ish or so. Hopefully to finish up the rapport stuff, but I kind of get the feeling that we won't quite finish. Probably go for about 3 hours or so. I'm betting we'll get close to finishing, but not quite finish, and then hopefully finish up tomorrow and maybe launch into the next little battle. We'll see. Anyways, that is going to be the end of this stream. I will be back in just a few hours, and we will play some more. Thanks for watching. See you in a little bit. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.